Critics seem to have gone quite easier on William Blake, however. The antiquarian prodigy was born in 1757 and is probably one of the more recognizable names in Druid history. His work is spared of the hatred bestowed on Morgannwyn's work because Blake expressed his concept of Druidry in poetry form, thus relieving himself of many of the issues of that surround when you present work in more of a non-fiction sense, or from some guise of authenticity. His first piece of writing, though, is not even truly poetic, but a metalogical argument called "There's No Natural Religion," and then another one, all religions are one. And in this particular piece, he speaks of man's limited perceptual faculties in the physical world. And I immediately knew there was something to this work when, in the third premise of the first argument, Blake explains how a three-sense dimension, three-dimension, three-sense being couldn't have the capability to perceive a fourth or a fifth dimension or sensual perception simply as a matter of logic. And this explains why this idea of metaphysics is so obscure and unbelievable to so many people. In his most famous work, Jerusalem, the emanation of the giant Albion, in 1804, Blake depicts the Druids as philosophers. He argues in his poetry that England is the true Holy Land, that Noah and Abraham of the Old Testament were Druids, and that the true Jerusalem is near Stonehenge. While some of these notions seem odd, they are presented brilliantly for poetic purposes. His other works, the Book of Thel, and the visions of the daughters in Albion, the Book of Urzin, Jehovah and his two sons, Satan and Adam, the Ghost of Abel, they all read like books from a Bardic Old Testament, kind of. They could probably they can probably all be found in a collected works anthology, honestly, at this point. So, as the antiquarian age passed into another, contemporary Druids and Druid organizations began to flourish. The first of these is the International Grand Lodge of Druids, which was founded in 1908, and it claimed to be an exclusive remnant tied to AOD and UAOD, which we've covered in prior segments on the revival. It's essentially an umbrella council in England with delegates of other groups for the last 100 years. The International Grand Lodge of Druids sought to reestablish the fraternal recognition that secret societies tend to have all across the globe. Many grand councils and grand lodges have since been established in many varying countries. The Ancient Order of Druids, or AOD, later became the Ancient Druid Order, or ADO. A historian or philosopher named Ross Nichols was actually a member of the reformed organization, and then he was a member, and then the Archdruid of ADO at the time was Chief Robert McGregor Reed, and then he died in 1964. And at that point, Nichols decided to begin the Order of Bards, Ovyds, and Druids, which now has nearly 10,000 members, and an ongoing campaign for ecological responsibility, summer camps, monthly journal, and all that good stuff. The Gaelic name given to OBOD basically translates as a worldwide fellowship of Druids. And currently, I believe currently they still remain the largest, probably one of the more famous of the contemporary Druid organizations that are still in operation today. A lot of the authors today also seem to have ties back to, or lineage back to, OBOD. And they do offer extensive correspondence course, which when I was a teenager was made privy to, and any idea of magic to them, though, is definitely restricted to more the psychological techniques and guided meditations. All of the books and accepted by the group are wholly written by members in or affiliated with them. G. Philip Cargam and his wife Stephanie being the kind of coordinators of that. And they do actually make a great contribution that I could recommend to anybody. It's called the Druid's Animal Oracle. I think it's since changed its format from the version that we have here. I think it comes now with a paperback copy instead of the hardcover. Like I said, I would definitely recommend it. The Golden Section Order, GSO, was revived by Colin Murray in 1975, who died in 1986. And that group was allegedly begun in 1920, but it's since kind of dissipated. And he and his wife, Elizabeth Murray, lended their contributions to Druidology in 1988 when the Celtic Tree Oracle was published. And it's also unquestionably awesome. It was the first of the more commercial Ogham divination kits. Elizabeth Murray actually went on to form the Council of British Druid Orders, which was kind of like the international lodge, where it was composed of delegates of groups that were of all the other organizations around, and a way for them to network and share ideas more easily across the different organizations.